keep putting up the comments. Let's do this. I'm looking at your welcome that's there. Welcome to the Unlock the Day, your ultimate lifestyle destination. Tell us a little bit more about your website and what you got going on.
So the website is really, it's designed for a couple things. So it's really about intentionality. It's about discipline. It's about consistency. But it's also about things like time management, right? Because it all plays into that. You can't have any of that if you aren't managing your time and figuring it all out. But it goes back and forth. So as you become more intentional, you become more disciplined, you be more consistent, your lifestyle changes, your habits change, your routines change. So collectively, it all comes together. And that's really what this website's designed to do, is to help people understand what it means to be intentional and consistent and disciplined, and what programs we have that are going to empower people to do that. So, for me, it's really about routines, and we've talked about that before, whether it's a morning routine or people have, I have a full daily routine, but I know people that have night routines. I'm a morning person, so I focus on morning, but I know a lot of people that have evening routines. But the key is that you have a routine, and that you're really blending everything you need in your lifestyle to have as productive a day as you can, because that's really what it's about. And there are so many aspects to it, but for me, time management, getting into the gym every day, changing up diet so that the more you focus on your body, then the better off you're going to be, and the better position you're going to be to do everything that you want to do. So I think nutrition is really a big part of what this website's going to be about.
When it comes to this part about empower individuals, empowering people, I wanted to touch on that a little bit. In this particular podcast, live podcast episode, video podcast episode, we're looking at you touching on the website, but you mentioned empowering individuals and improving a person's lifestyle. How can you navigate people to be able to do that? Tell us a little bit more about your program when it comes to people feeling empowered.
It really becomes a mind shift change for a lot of people. A lot of people don't a lot of people trying to understand what can I do? What can I accomplish? And the tools that we have here are going to help people become more empowered to take control of whatever it is that they want to do, right? So it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be their kids. You need to take control of your life. You need to have yourself on such a path that you're able to do all this, and that's really where we're focused. So, as a person that's over 50, my routines didn't start till I was well into my 50s, and so I understand what it was like to not have a routine versus having a routine, and the huge benefits of that. My kids one of my kids is still very athletic. They're not students anymore, but having that kind of journal, having that kind of structure around their day so that they're that they can handle their academic side as well as their athletic side. It's really, for kids, it could be overwhelming. So having that structure, a lot of what we're going to talk about, Paxton, is structure. And certainly it's here on the website. There's going to be a lot coming out on YouTube and certainly on my Instagram and TikTok pages. This is really the foundation of what we're talking about, is structure around your life so that you can be empowered and you can tackle the challenges that are really out in front of you.
Let's take a look at what Susie is highlighting there. You feel free to read the screen and talk with the audience. She says, it's so hard for me to get up and out to the gym lately. So I was thinking, if I go buy a yoga mat, I already have a YouTube. And there she goes improvising.
Yeah, Susie, I had a conversation with a person last night, and I said to them, I can't exercise in the house because working at home, I'm too ingrained in that. So, but for as long as you're taking that step, and this is a great first step because, yeah, there's so much on YouTube from a exercise routine, yoga. There are a lot of resources to that yoga mat to get you started, get a couple of light weights just to get you into that rhythm. This is a tough time of year to kind of get to the gym, but whatever you can do to make that part of your routine is really important. And that's consistency, right? So getting the mat is great. Getting on YouTube is great. Being consistent in doing that. And it doesn't have to be every day, right? Whatever works for you, and you're going to work yourself into more of a routine, and you're going to get more consistent in how you're doing that. The challenge and the goal is to take that first step and really, get that mat, do it the first time, and then really keep moving forward in doing that. I talked to a person yesterday who said to me, I'd love to get to the gym, but I can't get myself out of bed in the morning. And so there's strategies, like really simple strategies, like, hey, for me personally, I don't leave my phone next to me on the nightstand. I put it literally across the other side of the room. So when my alarm clock goes off, I have to get out of bed to turn it off. And once I get out of bed, I'm up and going. So that's part of the strategy, right? Everything we're going to be doing has a strategy behind it. And there's tips and tricks of how we can do that. But Susie, what you're doing is so important because you're taking that first step forward. And there's the intentionality behind that of getting you, exercising and moving. So that's really, really important.
And you got a comment there from Tanya as well on the screen. It says, I've been working in all that Warren mentioned in coaching. Talked about consistency and structure today, getting it back.
And Tanya, you know what? It's that consistency is baby steps, right? It's one foot in front of the other. It's just making that consistent step at a time. And people think that it's got to be this massive change, right? You have to do all this at once. And if it's not going to work because, I have to do all that. No, it's incremental improvement every day. That's where you see the consistency, and that's where the discipline comes in because you're doing one more thing than you did yesterday. And over time, that builds into your routine, that builds into your pattern. And that's the mind shift change. That's where it's really important. It becomes, as you do this, as you get into the routine, now you're not thinking about it anymore. When you start, it's really a very conscious thing. Oh, I have to get the mat. I have to go on YouTube. I have to do the yoga. No, once you get going into it, it is a rogue process and you're just doing it. And whether it's exercise or whether it's in your relationships or whether it's getting your kids out the door in the morning, the more you do that and the more intentional you are, the easier it becomes. And it really just becomes that lifestyle. And so when we talk about empowering people, that's exactly what we're talking about, is getting people to that state where it isn't a conscious thing anymore. They're just kind of doing their own thing. And that's really where we need to get, that's really where you want to be. You want to be in that mode of just, it happens. And there's always an adjustment, right? Things change, lifestyles change. You have to be adaptable to it. But that adaptation becomes much easier when you understand what the end goal is and what you're trying to achieve, and just being consistent and doing it all the time.
Tanya's got another one for you there, Warren. It says, I have trouble getting out of bed most days. If I do, I do things like leg lifts, things with my arms as well.
So, Tanya, for me personally, I get that. And that's kind of the good news is that you're doing the leg lifts and you're doing the arm things, but you're doing it in bed, right? And so changing the environment, one of the things that I talk to people all the time about is when you're in that mode, when you're kind of stuck, the most important thing you can do is change the environment, change your surroundings. Working from home, like when I'm in a situation that I'm kind of struggling with, the first thing I do, whether it's summer, winter, or, put my coat on, is I go for a walk, right? You change the environment. It changes your mindset. Getting out of bed and doing those same things are going to have a totally different impact on yourself, on how you're doing things. So while it's okay to do that stuff in bed, what you really do want to do, though, Tanya, is you really want to get out of bed and then, like Susie, get a yoga mat, just even on the carpet, do those things, but don't do them in bed. That's you want to kind of break that cycle. And Susie, yeah, I mean, hiking in this part of the country is pretty amazing. But and that change, getting back to that, Susie, changing that environment, getting out there, changing your mindset, kind of freeing up your mind and all that fresh air, really, really important part of empowering yourself to do that kind of stuff. So I commend you for getting out there and doing that. It's really important. Yes. And that's what it comes down to, right? So is accomplishing something new. And as I said before, it's kind of baby steps, and it's kind of one foot in front of the other. And it's that consistency, and it's over time, it's just going to keep building, and you're going to take yourself to the next level and to the next level to where you really want to be. And that's the end game. That's what we're really talking about, is getting yourself to the point where you want to be, but not rushing that either, because the more you rush, then when things don't work, it kind of puts you back a little bit. So have the expectation of what you really want to accomplish today. That's why I think the routine is so important. And part of the routine is journaling. So when you're documenting, this is what I want to accomplish today. The important thing with journaling is tomorrow you're going to review what you did today. What worked, what didn't, what adjustments do I need to make? And now you have a written guide of your experience. What are the successes? What are the failures? And you really need to take pride in those accomplishments, and don't beat yourself over what you didn't do, what didn't work well. That's where you need to adjust. That's where you gotta step back, modify the plan, but keep moving forward. So the journaling is really, really important to have that visual of what's working, what's not working for you, and then adjusting as you need to do that. And yeah, sunshine on your face feels really good, no doubt.
Tanya says, I do walk on occasions, she says there, only not so far as I'd like. She has scoliosis and painful joint issues.
Tanya, I don't think it's the distance, right? It's the movement. And maybe it's not one long walk. Maybe it's a couple of shorter walks during the day, or, just before you retire for the night, you go for a little bit of a walk if it, you feel safe being out there at that point in time. But again, it's just kind of adapting to your situation. So if you can't go for a long walk, but you can take multiple shorter walks, you're still accomplishing the same thing. And for you, I think there's actually benefits to doing that, because it keeps you a little bit looser throughout the day. Instead of doing one long walk and then being more sedentary, this is kind of keep moving you forward. So there's no wrong or right way. It's really what works best for you is what you want to adapt to and use going forward. Yeah, Kevin, I mean, we live in a place where there's some really beautiful scenery and a lot of walking trails around the rivers here in Connecticut. So there's a lot of benefits to doing that. And Susie, make a really good point, right? You don't want to push yourself. That's not the goal. The goal is to not push yourself and then, have to take step back. So work within your parameters, work within whatever you're capable of doing, but don't push yourself to an extreme just because you think, oh, I have to walk a mile today. No, you don't. You got up, you got outside, you got some fresh air. That's great. Tomorrow, maybe it's, a little bit longer and a little bit longer. but don't push yourself to the point where you now have a setback and now you have to recover again. Make sure you're working within your parameters.
Tell us more about your website right here on this particular section. Find your inspiration with Unlock the Day.
You know, we're all in different places and we're all looking for different things. But at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is, what is it I'm trying to unlock? Well, you know, everyone has that thing that they want to unlock. And that's really what this website and what the channel is going to be about, is unlocking something different. So, you know, in Tanya's case, it's getting out of bed to do what I need to do and, you know, just moving myself forward. For Susie, it's kind of clearing her head and getting out there and now getting into exercise. Unlock could be whatever it is that's challenging you today. We're going to work on moving you out of that situation and into a better place. And there's strategies that really are customized. So on the website, there's a standard kind of program that we can do, but there's also customized so that we can adjust whatever it is that you're challenged with. The website is going to help you move forward with whatever it is we need to move you forward with. But, you know, the morning routines, the time management skills, really, I think once you master those routines and you become comfortable with them, they're really strategies for really addressing what it is that's challenging you at the moment. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on with the website and the channel as we go forward. Get out there and do things. Yeah, you know, Tanya, I again, you know, just nice and easy, right? Just kind of like small gradual improvements are really what's kind of so key for you, especially. It's just that small little incremental changes, a little bit every day. And yeah, Kevin, at some point you get to the top of the mountain. Susie, yeah, diet, you know, nutrition and hydration are two things that I think people really need to look at, especially today. You know, I recently worked with a person who had kidney stones, and it was, you know, the reality was that they simply weren't drinking enough water during the day, and it impacted them. And, you know, a lot of coffee, a lot of tea, a lot of other things, which is fine, but incorporating proper hydration is really kind of what keeps you going throughout the day. A lot of proteins, some carbohydrates. I mean, everyone is different. Everyone's metabolism is different. And that's where we can kind of focus on your body size and what it is that you do every day, and then adjust a caloric kind of program for you. But eating right is for, you know, Susie, you know, for we can definitely work on something there. And, you know, Paxton, we have on the screen stress reduction techniques. It's I think for me, it's really important to help people to deal with their stress, because it can be overwhelming. It can be debilitating if you aren't managing your stress. But it's, again, a lot of stress is self-induced. So it's getting back to empowering people so that they understand the situation and how best to do it. A lot of stress comes from procrastination. And I've worked on programs where we can get people away from being that procrastinator and being that doer. Procrastination isn't always a negative thing. Procrastination has a lot of negative connotations. It's not necessarily a bad thing if it's done right. But when it comes to stress, a great deal of stress is because people simply aren't dealing with the situation in hand. They're hoping that things will get better. They're hoping that they don't have to deal with what's in front of them, when in reality is, if you go out and attack the problem, it's going to at least you're going to face whatever it is, and you're going to be able to formulate a plan to work on it, where if you just procrastinate and hope for the best, it rarely works out. So having different types of stress reduction techniques is something that we're really going to be expanding on the website and coming up soon. And then certainly, accountability. All of this is great, but you need some accountability. And whether it's internal accountability, whether you're counting on someone else, you have an accountability partner, you have an accountability buddy. I think that's really important. Someone that can kind of keep you in check. Make sure that, you say you're intentional and you say you want to be consistent. You want to be, you want that, but you're just not pulling yourself forward. You're not stepping up to it. That accountability buddy can be that person to, make sure that you're staying disciplined, make sure you're staying, intentional in what you're doing. You're being consistent. Accountability should come from within, but sometimes you need that buddy to help you do that. And we can certainly be your accountability buddy. Tanya, thanks. We are definitely here in any way we can to help you out. And, Paxton, the whole goal of Unlock the Day is really to have people enjoy life to their fullest, to formulate strategies and to formulate processes and to give them guides to overcome whatever it is that they're working on. It really comes down to a lot of life experiences that this website is built on. And I want to use what I've learned and what I've seen it in my life to help other people. That's really kind of the drive. So the website's going to grow. Certainly the YouTube channel is going to grow, and my other platforms are all kind of dealing with it today. But this is going to be a really comprehensive website that's going to help a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
I think we covered a number of beneficial and positive information points there from your website. We truly appreciate everybody that's got a chance to stop by for Warren's first episode. Warren, any thoughts in mind? Everybody's got some really great suggestions along with what you've shared as well.
Yeah, one of the things I'm sorry, Paxton, one of the things I didn't share is in addition to the website and the social media pages, I'm going to be doing broadcasts on Spotify. So if you don't have a moment to get to YouTube, but you want to hear what we're talking about, on the website, there is a link to the podcast. So you don't necessarily have to go to Spotify. You can pick up the podcast right on the website. But that is the goal, is to whatever the platform it is, if you need information, then it's going to be available to you on the website.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you being here. This is the end of the first episode. I am his sidekick, so get used to seeing us together. But when you go over to the YouTube channel, one more time is
Unlock the Day.
You will see Warren. He will dive much deeper over there on his YouTube channel, Spotify, LinkedIn, and a number of other places. Check him out on all of those. Warren, excellent show today. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to NATV Podcast Network. Warren, you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to thank Susie and Kevin and Tanya. You guys are, love you all, and